We are live. Okay, welcome, folks. This is House Corrections and Institutions Committee. It is January 8th, Thursday, January 8th. And we're starting our morning committee time, and we are working with the Department of Buildings and General Services to give us an update in terms of where we are on some of our projects that we funded in the FY26 budget. We're halfway through that fiscal year, and we're doing a checking to see where we are. So we have with us the Department of Buildings and General Services, Joe Asia. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
Identify yourself for the record.
For the record, Joe Asia, Director of Design and Construction with Buildings and General Services.
It's all yours, and I'm assuming you have a document you're going to put up on the screen?
Yes.
Everything's ahead of schedule and under budget, right?
Yeah, you bet. We're gonna go home.
What's the proof? Other than it's not coming up. There does not want to share.
We have to
There we
do
go.
something on our side.
No. I think my fingers working the mouse properly, that's all.
There we go.
Good. There we go. All right. Madam Chair, for what I put together today is the Section 2 update, specifically fiscal year 26 items. Going forward, first up, we have major maintenance. Major maintenance, there's a lot of these smaller projects that are, many of these are line items in the capital bill. We try to limit the cost to $150,000 per project item. In the past, we did have, when we were behind in spending, that sort of worked out quite well to get some of the larger projects done. However, as you can see here in the dollars, we had our past funding come right now. All I have left for major maintenance is $3 million.
The rest of the year.
For the rest of the year, that is correct. So we've actually have gone through and looked at our projects and rearranged. We've had 2 boilers fail and frozen coils at the health lab. So those emergency projects, come out of this major maintenance.
So the boilers that failed, were they at the health
They were
lab?
not at the health lab. One was at the multi-modal building, and I forget where the other boiler was, but it was,
Well, the health lab is fairly new. That health lab is
it is.
15
We
years.
did have an issue with the boilers were fine. It was the coils that froze up when we had that cold snap. So that's where some of that major maintenance money goes to, is projects like that. So right now, we're not starting any new projects with major maintenance right now. If it's in the design phase, it's continuing. Some of these projects are also outdoors, so they would be going out until springtime. And we'll just play the game of managing our funds here. And when the fiscal year comes around, those projects that are either placed on hold or done with design, but ready to go to construction, we'll put those forward.
So in the past, at this time of the year, is the 3 million pretty on target, or is that really less than what you've traditionally had?
It started out with 4 project managers working in Waterbury with Irene. We had a bubble, and then COVID hit, and we also had a bubble. That bubble is now gone. So
The bubble of
some extra cash, right? Because we could not, also have a short employee, so we couldn't get it up and go fast enough. We were spending roughly 11 million a year for that, during that bubble. So we had been working on it, and now we're down to just what you give us.
8 million.
Yes.
Yep. Will?
Yep. So I don't know if this is the most appropriate time to ask this, but between the FY26 bond and cash, how did that, do you know if you're using more of the cash fund, and how was that more accessible and easier to use? Or have you guys been relying on the bonding portion of that more
With the cash, we spend the cash first.
first? Okay.
So that's what we look to. I think right now there may be $311 left in cash.
Okay, repo.
Yeah, we're on.
Yes.
Can't repo 26. But that could, patch a hole in the roof.
It's
Hard to say, but that's cash first.
Yeah, I didn't understand the answer to.
We are using cash, so when we get bonded in cash funds, we will use the cash funds
I'm
first.
going back to Alice's question, Chair's question. 24 million was set aside or appropriated for 2 years of maintenance. We are now down to 3 million.
No, that's FY 24, FY 25, FY 26, and FY 26 cash for a total of 24.5.
Right.
Yes, 3 years.
Okay, so that's 3 years.
Right?
Mhm.
So I did not understand your answer to our chair. Is $3 million saying we are potentially at major risk? Because we have 12 months we need to survive on $3 million?
6 months.
Six. Just to go, but we're in FY 26, so we're halfway through our fiscal year.
Not as bad as I was thinking. Okay, thank you. I just didn't understand.
So what is in the budget for FY 27 that we've put in is another 8.5 million.
Yes.
And what Joe said, traditionally in the past, we did have a higher bonding level. We had a higher capital bill in the past. We would put in about 11 million. But now we only have $50 million. And in the past, we would have 60 or 70 or 80 million.
Wow.
So our bonding capacity and our cash has decreased. But when we were totally bonded, we had a higher capital with total bonds, and then we could have put in more money for major maintenance. So that's why there's that $2 million, $3 million difference,
The $311 can paint that wall right there.
just the wall.
Oh, you have this. Study inference.
It's, no, we don't. Well, that would be painting the wall, more like fee for space, because it's just a one, not the room. So that's sort of where fee for space and major maintenance is, but it's difficult, some of the times it's a high cost, even if it may look like we go to fee for space, but it still comes out of major maintenance.
Is this the boring part of it?
I'm liking it.
I'm trying, Mary, I'm trying.
To put it in context, though, last year, when we were going through them, pulling out our documents from last year, you had 2.6 million. At this point, that was the balance.
Yeah.
Last year, at this time, this is what you folks put together last year,
Yes.
So 300,000 I had this year.
at 2.6. So,
But that was also I know we had some old money coming back. So when I say we have old money coming back, when we put a project out for design, clerk of the works, we do our best guess for what there's going to be for reimbursables, travel, stuff like that goes to the design team. All that doesn't always get expended. So then that would come back and then we would reuse that money someplace else. So once that contract is closed out, then it comes back in. This year, though, I don't foresee a lot of that happening in the next 6 months.
anything else before we move on? Okay, next, planning and reuse and contingency.
The commissioner.
You gotta go back. We're
Oh, no,
at 3 acre.
sorry.
You gotta
Look at the 3 acre. There we go. Wrong button. So on planning, reuse and contingency, planning are projects that are not line items or something that we would like to look into to see whether or not it is worth asking for funds to develop a project. Presently, right now, one of the projects that we're working on is the old Williston Public Safety Facility.
Oh, boy.
When
It's a
we-
cell, right?
Well, we do,
Barracks?
the old barracks, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And what we were looking at is the town of Williston had potentially wanted in and buying that from us, and they chose not to. There is a developer out there who is thinking of adding a road that goes in behind the facility, put a light in, and then continue across the drive to get you to the store that's in there now. But that, adding that light, that was one of the major issues of pulling out of that building as if you were headed south, just to get across those lanes to head south. If that light goes in, having that building may be viable for us. For what, don't know. So what we're looking to do is analyze the structure, the envelope of the building to see whether or not it is worth it for us to repurpose. Yes. Because if we had something that could go there, we already own the land, and it would just be what we would have to do to the building. The building was constructed, I think, in the 60s. So if we had to do some major renovations to it, would be bring it up to today's codes. But again, not knowing what that cost is. So that's why we're using planning funds to evaluate that, get an idea.
Did you say is the light definitely going in?
I don't think it's definitely going in. We were just approached and said, what if?
And the road,
Transportation had looked at
the road
that.
is on the south side of that property?
Yes.
Okay.
Between us and the gas station. So that would certainly look more viable to use that, because you could easily come out with a light beam right there.
There'd be a light right there that there isn't.
They were in the sketch that I saw showed adding a drive coming into our property on the backside. So it allowed you enough space to queue up at the light. So it has potential.
Is there still storage being held? I mean, I know we put in money to try to build another storage area, but is the storage in the back of that building still being used?
Yes. Right now, the front of it, the upstairs, until Williston completes their homeless shelter. They are still in there, I think, to the end of this.
Yeah, there's cars out there a lot. There's 7 or 8 cars,
But public safety has been storing a few items in there still.
So what could that building be repurposed for? Would it be office space? Would it be for public safety still? Would it be for?
Don't know until we complete a study to see, is it worth it? How much work do we have to do to the building to bring it up to code? Yeah, and then potentially ideas of renovation. The way public safety used it, the back half was for storage of their vehicles, high bay, overhead doors. The front of it is 2-story structure. So that still could be used that way. Or could you divide it all, put a mezzanine in the storage area and have sizable space? What would you use that for? I have no idea at this point.
There's plots.
But that's what the planning money is for.
Huh, is it too large for forensic?
Don't know.
Just
Awesome
for
idea to me.
reentry. For reentry.
What's that?
I second that, Mary.
Reentry.
This is a derivative of where it is. It's extremely valuable property. The anchor,
Easy to get
maybe not
to.
so much the building.
Well, we'll see what's in the governor's proposed budget, right?
I would say
Weeks ago. You have to say that.
That was a test.
that.
Okay, let's really now get into this one.
And so on reuse if for unplanned changes in programmatic needs. So if we're looking to shift space on other departments and agencies, that is used for fitting up cost. We use some of those funds when we sold 13 Baldwin and went through and consolidated them into 6 Baldwin. It's typically not a large amount of dollars. That's projects like that is what it would be used for. And then finally, there's contingency. So if we run over on a line item project, the commissioner has authority to $100,000 to spend on that overage without having to wait and come back. So it keeps our projects moving.
So that contingency, if you haven't touched it, and say your major maintenance is getting a little tight come April, you could pull some from contingency to backfill major maintenance.
Commissioner has authority to move money around in each section, yes.
So folks keep that in mind.
Okay.
And
What was the cap to that? How much you can move?
100K.
200 was it?
If it's moving inside, there is no cap on moving it inside of that section.
Inside
Continues.
section two.
Okay. But outside of this section of the cap.
There's still,
Different
If it's-
process.
Okay,
it is, you have to go to the secretary or the board.
thank you.
So within the BGS section of state buildings, which is this first section two of the Capitol bill, Commissioner has authority to move money between all those projects, and there's no cap. Will, you look a little confused.
Mm.
We got it?
Yeah, no,
And then the commissioner can also move money from other sections with BGS, but you need the Secretary of the Administration and the E-Board if it's over a certain. We've done that in the past.
Yes,
Forgot what project it was.
Williston.
Williston, I was gonna say Williston. And that usually happens off session.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Street or stormwater, its permitting has taken us longer to get through. Presently, right now, we are permitted for Middlesex, Northwest, the Gens, and permit, for Pittsford, we almost have that. It's just from back and forth on the permit. So those projects will go out to bid shortly and be ready for construction in the spring.
Can you repeat which ones those are?
Middlesex, Northwest State Correctional Facility in St. Albans.
Yeah.
Virgins and Pittsford Training Facility.
And then out to construction this spring.
Yes. Waterbury and Northern State Correctional Facility, their permits are about 95% complete. As soon as we have permits for that and get those early, we will also put those out to bid. Then Montpelier is the only one we've placed on hold because of the flood. So that there may be some hazardous mitigation that will go into place because of the flood and didn't want to be overlapping that work. So right now we placed Montpelier on hold.
Sean.
And this is work that you're following to be done at these sites from that 3-acre stormwater water compliance that was passed, what, a few years ago?
Yes.
And it's taking the water that comes out of this facility or off these buildings and putting it
Parking
in
lots and parking
the
lots.
parking lots. And puts it into a holding kind of thing.
It could be a rain garden. It could be a holding tank that then slowly disperses that water. Yes,
Got it.
it could even be a pond.
10-4.
So of those 4 projects that you're anticipating going to construction in April.
Or if not, yes.
Yeah, then you got the
We can get
permits.
out there and do,
How much of the 4.7 is going to be used?
my guess is probably all of it. But I'm not sure until we get the bids. We've been seeing bids lately that are high and lower than we expected. So I think it's who doesn't have work, bids are coming in very reasonable.
Good.
Hey, James?
You said Montpelier was on hold. Is it still on hold or is it?
Yes, we should be hearing soon from FEMA.
I know you,
What's happening with Montpelier.
I know you told us this issue last year, but can you remind me where that's supposed to be here? Like where,
On this side of the street, the north side of State Street, there's only 2 areas that system could go into. It's State House lawn and over the 133 parking lot. 133 parking lot years ago, we had designed it for stormwater. So we have rain gardens over there that accept that. So if you go to 133 parking lot, there are two islands in the center, and then the edges of that on both the north and the south, east and west sides of the parking lot. There are rain gardens where that water goes to. So we would either augment that or put tanks in to disperse the water.
Thank you.
And what, so the picture behind you, I just gotta do this because my gut's telling me. So the picture you got up there, what's that of?
That is Northwest State Correctional Facility.
So so it's surrounded by, on two sides, forest, and on other two sides, grass.
Yes.
Okay, so when it rains, where does the water go?
These small little squares over in here
Yep.
are our solar.
So,
The site flows this way.
yep.
We'll be doing stormwater here, and a little bit right in this area here.
But like when there's a big rainstorm.
A lot of it is capturing it as a sheet flow running off, and so that's where we'll be capturing inside of the yard. A lot of that is also wetlands. Inside the fence, there are no wetlands. Outside the fence, most of it is wetlands. This area here is not.
Yeah.
If I remember,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, Sean,
No, go ahead, Joe.
but part of it was that the stone in the driveway had expanded, so there's more impermeable surface than there needed to be.
Driveway and dirt still impervious.
So but that part of it is to narrow that up and
Correct, yes, we are, right now it's a gravel drive. So both in St. Albans and Newport, we're going to pave those, so it does narrow it down. However, the rules do not allow us to take full credit of that. I think it's only 50%.
that's. It's not hard,
I don't know.
but I know you don't make the rule.
Thanks, Joe. I was just curious.
It's a good question.
So for the Capitol complex, Montpelier, you've been working with Doug Farnham, and he's been working with FEMA
Correct.
on this. I know that there's not much of an update, but there's a little bit of an update. And I know you submitted a quick little report. I would like to schedule some time for that, to deal with that. And would Doug be the one to have come in, Doug Farnham, as well as you folks?
I'd say definitely. Doug would have lead.
I'd like to schedule some time for that, just to bring an update for the committee. Okay?
Yeah.
Anything else for this?
Skipping security and housing.
Yes,
Okay.
the commissioner wants to come in and talk about that.
What's this?
What did you say?
Sorry?
Security.
Oh, the Commissioner of BGS
Yes,
wants to come in and talk about security.
yes. Another one of our favorite projects next to parking garages is the Asa Bloomer Building. Well underway. The photos you see here, the top right photo is inside the box culvert. The other two with the sewage and rainwater being in there. And the other two photos are where the contractor is removing all these sludge below that water level. If I can pull this off, we do have a water problem under us. Their history has shown that there are two brooks running through.
Underneath the building?
Yes. And part of the problem is when they were cleaning it, it does not show. Let me get my technology in place. So while they were cleaning that trench, this is the amount of water that's actually groundwater that is flowing through into that box culvert while they're trying to clean it. So they've been doing pumping and everything else to minimize this so that we could actually get in there, clean it, and stop the water flow. So we've done injection, grouting, and everything else to stop that. We're connected via pipe through our foundation wall to the city. And we now have worked that out. So we're well on our way to getting that job completed.
So did that contribute to when they would have an overflow? around the building in Rutland, did that contribute to that?
No, but it was still part of the issue of that was their combined stormwater and sewer, also some gradient issues.
So it wasn't connected, these two brooks, streams underneath the building did not add on to that issue?
No, all that was doing was taking what's coming into the building and putting it into a pipe instead of a box culvert.
Right,
When
in
it
and out.
overflowed, it came up through our basement slab.
So you're out of money right now.
Yes, and I should,
Is the project complete?
it's not complete. I'm gonna say be 100% completed in late fall of this year.
But 100% completed in late fall, is that still within that 3.9 million?
Yes. So we have a contract in place with the contractor and we're spending it down, but that has consumed all of the dollars.
House?
The multimodal garage renovation down in Rutland, which is right next to Asa Bloomer. This one also has leaks, but it's ruining the structure by the corrosive salt in there. Presently, we have, the design is complete. We've gone out to bid with a construction manager. And right now, we're dealing and negotiating on the guaranteed maximum price. And once we have that in place, that work will start.
Can you remind me what spalling is? Is that pulling away from the frame?
Yes, if you look here at this one, right here,
Yeah.
where here it's cracked,
Yeah.
and above that, it's these. This photo's better. Right in here, you see where concrete is pulling away from the beam. It's fall off because the rebar that's in there has rusted and has expanded.
Right.
And I forget the ratio that expansion is, but it's quite sizable.
And that's it, the salt hits it and then the rust expands it.
Yes, correct.
Concrete doesn't like that.
Right.
No, certainly the poured concrete is a lot better than precast. You have so many joints in precast for the water to run into.
Oh, gotcha.
Freeze, you know, for
Yeah.
they're what, 8 feet wide, 10 feet wide, so.
Is there new designs for, are there new designs for like parking garages now to mitigate the salt getting into the?
That I don't know. I think maybe changing some of the concrete itself that is, you know, better for it. But they've also come out with stainless steel rebar versus epoxy coated.
Gotcha.
You know, that sort of holds up better. It's about maintenance though. I know we're not doing 108 anymore, but 5 years ago, I think now when we started with 108, our consulting engineer told us that we should probably be spending about $250,000 a year on maintenance on that garage. And that's multiple cleaning, certainly throughout the winter. Hard part of the winter is washing it down. You know, you don't have a warm days, you know, every Friday afternoon is on a warm day.
No.
And so that is part of it. And so when they do start to thaw and freeze, that water migrates.
Gotcha. Oh, I see. Get rid of it before it gets into the,
Yeah,
into the
but you
building.
can't do it in the
No,
winter because there'll be a
gotcha.
sheet of ice.
I see. Get
Then you
rid-
put
get
more
up.
salt on to melt the ice.
Vicious circle.
I actually skipped, well, I didn't skip, I forgot to actually put it in here. There was a State House repointing project
Oh, yeah, that
Oh.
will repoint.
there. We have not started that yet. So we're, you know, drafting of an RFP, but it's not out on the street yet.
It's a big project.
Yes. On to print and postal, the uninterruptible power supply upgrades for all the print postal machines that, basically all the ones that are connected with a hard drive. When they lose power and it crashes, that hard drive system does not like that. So they have a smaller UPS that they're working on right now, and basically it's a plug and play. They do have, for reasons of keeping their work ongoing, duplicate machines. You would have to unplug one machine when there's a power outage and plug the other one in. There is a generator on the site, but again, it's that lapse of just half a second that they would still lose it.
So how far along are we?
We're in completing the design development phase. We'll be going to construction documents. We believe we'll be out about April, May,
Out to bid?
out to bid. And it's an expensive project for the construction side of things. It's really about, that's where most of the money's going, is removing the old one, bring the new one in and connecting it into the existing power panels that are there.
Questions? I saw some hands, but I guess.
They go smooth.
So is the 308,000 anticipated to take care of the
Yes,
project?
we had an estimate last year coming into this when we asked for the additional funds. Waterbury State Office Complex, replacement of the historic roofs, that site. We've had a contractor on site. They have completed buildings B, C, and D. And here on the plan here, you can see them on the right-hand side. We were not sure what the costs were going to be, so we did an alternate ad to the project when we put it out to bid, and that ad was for building F, which is on the left-hand side of the center core, just in case our estimates were high. Well, in fact, they were.
So when you say B, C, and D are complete, the roofing has been completed?
That is correct. And we had an alternate ad, and we have added building F, but due to the weather, they're not going on the roofs. So that'll take place in the spring. And then what we'll do is we will, from what we've learned dollar wise, assume of what going forward, what we're going to need for funding. And I believe in our ask will be fine. We'll find out more in building F. On some of the other buildings on B, C, and D, we found that some of the brick coursing on the top of the building, the motor had failed and was loose. And we also found rot in the rafters. We had to replace those. Not significant. We were able to keep moving. Again, I don't know how much of that we'll find in other buildings.
So to look at that little diagram of A, B, C, D, the buildings, where you see A, that is the new building that we built after Irene.
That is correct.
And where you see all the other buildings that are gray is the historic part of the complex that we renovated inside after Irene.
So when we came in the top of that picture?
We came in A.
Yeah, in the top.
Okay. Yes.
So when we renovated, rebuilt the whole Waterbury complex, we didn't get into the outside of those historic core buildings, correct? We only worked on the inside. Just so people have a perspective of what we did in Waterbury. So that 2.6 would cover F and maybe G or
H.
H.
It'll be close. Again, it's how much copper's going up. And there's a band of copper. With my knowledge, the slate has not changed in pricing. But a lot of that cost is also at the staging. You can see here in the photo on the right, the building itself is completely staged so that they can get around.
So that staging is also includes the FG&H.
Yeah, so it was staged around those buildings, they moved down and they'll move it over, yes.
That's a cost to the project.
And right, and so from what we've learned, when we go back out to bid for the balance, we'll also have it broken out as an ad so that if we do have the additional funds, we can get it done.
Are those round sections included?
The round sections, the turrets are not included with being re-roofed. They had been done over the years. The turrets, the round,
Oh,
on the ends of the historic core, you have two round turrets.
When those, so are those round turrets part of H, are they different? And like in B,
They've been re-roofed years ago.
okay, so they're in good shape.
They are, yes.
Okay, great.
So I just want some clarity here. We have a balance of 2.6 million. You're anticipating that that would do the roofing for F, G, and H. But it might be a little tight.
Depends on what kind of rot they get into.
So for the committee in FY 27, we also put in 2 million. I don't want to get into it, but is that for more roofing in different parts of the complex?
Yes, that would be the public safety building and Hank still need to be done. And their process of getting B, C, and D completed this year, this warm weather was about, as much as they could get done. So being able to complete G and H and maybe F, G, and H is plausible. I think they could do that. Now, they basically worked out the kinks. This is just a mirror image from the other side. So I think they'll be able to get it done. Hanks is probably one of those that, although that building is mothballed right now because nobody's in there, to use that one as we have funds left over to re-roof that one.
So we hung on to Hanks and Weeks when we redid Irene, after Irene. The administration was proposing that we get rid of those two buildings, and we've decided here in this committee to hang on to those two buildings. In Weeks, who is in Weeks right now?
AHS, specifically, I don't know. Out of AHS who was in there, but that's who's in Weeks also.
How many employees would be in there, do you know?
I do not.
And Hanks, that's being mothballed right now.
Correct.
How much what could we put in there, space-wise?
Not many. Excuse me. When we renovated Weeks, Hanks was also included as an alternate ad. It was a high price. I forget what it was to renovate for 12, 15 people that were going to be in there.
It'd be a small amount.
It's one of the first, if not the first building that was on the site. It was offices in the morgue. So historically, everybody wants to keep it, so that's why it's just mothballed right now. We heat it in the winter, and that's about it. Check for roof leaks, spreaders, and the likes of that.
And Hanks, is that one towards the bottom of the left-hand picture?
No, it's this one right here, the little small one.
Right, I didn't know if it
Oh, sorry.
corresponded up here.
It is
This
Hanks.
next picture.
Yes, that little building you're
Yeah.
pointing to is Hanks.
This is right there,
the one on the bottom?
above his head.
No, but in the.
This one here is Hanks.
That's Hanks.
Weeks
Oh,
Weeks
okay.
isn't here.
Yeah,
Weeks is-
okay.
yeah.
You can't see it.
Yeah, that's all.
I got it. And I asked that question because with state employees coming back to the office, and we ended up having to lease space in Waterbury. That's why I asked the question if there was any opportunities there between Weeks and Hanks for employees to be housed there.
Needs substantial renovation.
But then it would only be for like at most 12.
A lot of
I
money.
think it was 12, and it was more than $1 million to renovate it.
And that's why we ask these questions, so you balance out the decision that was made. On the surface, agree with the decision, but then when you look at alternatives,
Mhm.
you may find that that decision was the right decision in the long run. So that's why I just put that out on the table for folks to think about.
Yeah.
And also, in that whole picture of the Waterbury complex, not last session, but the session before, we decided to put 108 Cherry on the market. Maybe it was done the session before that.
Yes.
And we had to move people out of 108 Cherry. And there was Agency of Human Services folks in there along with the Department of Health. The Agency of Human Services folks were providing direct services to clients coming into the building. So the decision was made that those folks would stay within the Burlington area. We'd relocate them, and it was into lease space. The Department of Health, there was a good portion of the Department of Health, and I've forgotten how many employees there were, 100, 200.
Could be, but I don't know.
They didn't provide direct services to the public. The public wasn't accessing them at that building. So the decision was to move those employees down to the Waterbury complex because the Waterbury complex wasn't full, because everyone was working remotely. So we did that, not last session, the session before. We did that to free up, empty out 108 Chair, to put on the market. So with the return to work order, there was pressure on the Waterbury complex because some of that space was already filled up with the Department of Health. So that's why not all the employees could fit back into the complex and why they ended up having to lease some space in Waterbury. So I'm just laying that out. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. Just laying out why those decisions were made.
I have a question. So a history question. So you said that the administration, whichever one, at one time wanted to get rid of Hanks and Weeks. You guys made a decision to keep it. Was it for the historical nature of the buildings? Was it to keep
Future
the
use.
future use?
Because there was, the buildings at that point were in pretty good shape. They weren't really impacted by the flood as much as,
The basement levels were. not
yeah,
the
but
first floors.
they weren't as impacted as as the core buildings and further back. And at that point in time, we just didn't know what was going to happen. It was back in 2012, 2013. So we didn't want to get rid of state-owned buildings until we had more understanding of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Also, we built complex to, at first, it was going to include over 1,000 employees.
Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but it was going to include around 1,000 employees, and the price tag was a little high. And the governor and the administration said, let's dial this back. And we were hoping for, what do we call it? Remote work, but telecommuting. That's what we were calling it. So we were thinking if 200, 250 employees could do remote work, then we could bring the office space down to about 800, 850 employees. And that brought the cost of the renovations down because we were anticipating about 200 or so folks could work remotely. And that was back in 2012, 2013, and 14 when we were doing the whole rebuild. So that was the thinking back then. And people didn't want to do much of the remote work, but they were doing it. And now after COVID, it's totally flipped. So, you know, the space there, we toured it last session, and the session before, the previous members of the committee here, we toured it. And all that office space was empty.
Except for the forensics lab.
But that wasn't included.
Yeah,
That wasn't included in the rebuild of the core, the office space.
oh yeah, it was almost empty.
Yeah, that's what was rebuilt with Irene. And what had originally been in there was the Agency of Natural Resources as well as the Agency of Human Services. And after Irene, the Agency of Natural Resources moved up to National Life. So we rebuilt the Waterbury complex for the Agency of Human Services. So is that an accurate, kind of an accurate history there, too? So we cut back on the number of office space there because the cost was getting a little too high and we were incorporating remote work. Telecommunicating, telecommuting. So it's just interesting
Times have changed.
where we are now 10+ years later. But the key to, we moved down those Department of Health employees here. We moved those down and
But that was before we got there last year, right?
yeah.
I'd love to see it this year on a day where there's supposed to be a lot of people there.
Different feel. We can do that. That would be more during what, like Wednesday, Thursdays?
Everybody has different schedules.
We shall find out.
Anyway. We should do
Yes, preferably towards the end of the day, because some members will just go north after.
that. You can do it at the beginning of the day, where you can meet there.
That's it.
Do it either way. Okay, let's keep going.
Last up is 32 Cherry Street.
Looking good.
Parking garage repairs. The contractor started this week. Up there on Monday. Because of the weather, they had initially bid on a schedule. They've changed up a little bit because of the weather and everything else. However, so far, fourth day in, no complaints. So there are about, I think, 10 parking spaces that are being impacted right now that had to be either moved throughout the garage and or across the street. We are renting a few parking spaces in the parking garage there to pick up any of that overflow.
Projected timeline.
The contractor believes they will be done in summer, fall of 27.
Wow.
The
We're here.
construction, the actual
Yes.
construction.
So they're a year and a half.
Complete construction. And, the amount, once you start removing that concrete, getting down to your steel, replacing the steel, it could go better, it could go worse.
The project is anticipated to be completed in the summer or fall of next year.
Yes.
And will those rented parking, will that rotate the parking spaces? that
Yes,
you
and we
closed?
move around there, certain people who are probably better off parking in the garage, so once we move to the next level, they will go up and,
So
we
right now
disperse.
you're renting 10.
Make sense,
Is that-
basis. Yeah.
Is that typical? Will it be more than that as a?
No, I don't think so. I think with the way they're looking to move around, because they can't do it all at
Yeah.
once because of the access that has to be granted, so they're doing it in phases. I don't anticipate it to be more than 10, but maybe 12. For some reason it happens because all, excuse me, all of this has to be staged first.
Yeah.
So the staging needs to go in. So you're supporting that deck. Then you can start cutting into that beam to replace the steel and lights of that. So it depends, it could turn out that it's worse, that concrete just hasn't split and spalled off yet.
1.4 being up.
Well, we've put in more money for FY
Has concrete hit cars?
27.
I'm not sure about in 32. In 108 they did.
Yeah. Wait, what was your,
108 was an issue.
has concrete fallen off and hit cars?
Oh.
That are parked in there.
Yeah, they were doing that in way.
That's
108 definitely.
So there was 2.3 cash for FY 25. Has that all been expended? Do you know?
It has not been expended. It has been encumbered,
And encumbered?
but because the contractors just started.
So this project, we did put aside $500,000 in FY 27. So at this point, there'd be $500,000 added to the 1.7. So then when that comes before us, the question is the 2.2 million going to cover the remaining of the project? That will be the question. Okay. That finishes up your section.
Yes.
How much are
Can I
you?
just,
Yep.
just for my understanding, why didn't you show the additional 500,000 in this chart? Because
This is next year.
because it's next year.
Fiscal year. So it may
So
or may
you
not
don't
be
show
there.
anything in 2020.
That is correct. All of this is just up to
I understand.
26.
Now I know how to read better. Thank you.
And we're gonna get the governor's budget next.
They
We'll
adjust
see.
that. Got it.
And it may also adjust some things in the 26 budget too,
Yes.
somewhere, because some of that may not go forward and they may
Yeah,
pull
that's
it or decrease it and shift it to
Yep.
2027. So Joe, how about the correctional facilities? Do you have updates that you've been working? It's BGS is the lead in those too, right?
Yes, we are.
So would you be able to do updates on that, like
Not prepared today for that, but
sometime this week?
sure.
And what else would you be doing here? Would you own any of that?
We are doing some of that. And we could report on that too, our status.
And public safety, you're doing anything on that? That would be Rutland Field,
Yes.
that, and judiciary.
If you want Rutland Field,
You don't need to do it now. I'm just saying what's out there.
that one I know.
Hmm?
That one I know.
The Rutland?
Yes, we have to bid for design. Architectural team on that, and so once we have that in place, we'll start the design. So,
Then
What's that? Rutland what?
field service,
right, for public safety,
Line 106.
that is for state police headquarters.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
so
Then the courthouse, you
for design.
got a question? And then what?
No, just what did Mary ask? I didn't hear. I didn't hear.
You clarified it with what I said.
And then the courthouses. Can do an update on the
Mhm.
courthouses?
One River, they're moving in the end of the month. They're down there right now doing final tweaks, trying to get the
Nice.
internet to work
Cool.
Good.
There are things in Essex.
for which,
Essex County Courthouse,
Done.
connector and security upgrades. County courthouse there. That's it.
that one I don't know. But
The Newport courthouse, I'm just going through,
Newport courthouse is, we still don't have land. So we're still gonna go for a land search.
I have to do more testimony on.
Understood.
I'm just thinking for updates here in terms of what BGS works on their projects to come back next week. So there would be the correctional facilities. There would be whatever you're doing at the vet's home. And you can for some of the courthouses. And then I think that would be it, right? That would be it, the BGS that's involved in. That makes sense, Joe?
Does?
Okay. So, or Cole or you or somebody could work with Nate, trying to figure out when to schedule. It'd be great if it could be a morning. Trying to do capital bill stuff in the morning and more corrections in the afternoon, because I'm trying to juggle our legal staff as well as you folks will be called into institutions committee on the Senate side, and they're an afternoon meeting. And I just don't know what their schedule is going to be for that. So if we could do as much in the morning, even when we get the governor's new budget, if we could do as much in the morning as possible, would be a help.
Schedule.
Yeah, just to kind of clear, because we're really juggling legal staff here. Particularly within the corrections world, because our legal staff is tied up with judiciary committees more in the morning, because the Senate Judiciary Committee is a morning committee. So we've got to balance all of it. and Human Services and Health and Welfare, the Health and Welfare Committee in the Senate, so it's a morning committee. So that ties up some of the people that we need. So if we could do corrections more in the afternoon, then our legal staff is more available. But it doesn't work out like in a perfect world, we could do that. Anything else before we finish up?
Thank you, Joe. Round one for the year.
There we go.
No, so we're done a little early because 10:30 is when DOC and WellPAC is coming in, right?
And not germane to Joe's presentation tonight, just for clarification, line 5, section 2. Look at our discussion yesterday, which is Arts and State Building. I think the proposal yesterday was to suspend the 75 grand, is that correct?
Was 75 for 26.
It's fine. but the
It's fine, but the 27 is sort of on hold until we get into budget adjustment. Okay, anything else before we break? Come back at 10:30?